Welcome on into another edition of Falcons Today. I am breaking down Mel Kiper's big board as we start to shift our brains from free agency to the draft. And I think it's a good time for those of you that have been watching our coverage or keeping up with the draft since January to learn a couple of new names and faces. Or for those of you that are like, all right, let's get ready for the draft. I don't really start that type of prep work until late March, early April. Tell me everything I need to know. That's what I want to accomplish on today's episode. Now, if you want more draft content, make sure to subscribe. We've got 34,076 subscribers here at Falcons Today. So if you are looking to hop aboard the #1 Falcons YouTube channel, don't waste any more of your time. Scroll on down and click that sub button. So let's go 1 through 5 first for Kiper's top 25 players. None of these guys are going to be there at 15. Maybe Ashton, Jeanty, but I don't think he'll escape the top 10. Moving on, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cam Ward and Tyler Warren, I don't think, well, Cam Ward's going first, and Tyler Warren, I don't expect to be on Atlanta's radar. But Jalon Walker from UGA and Jahad Campbell from Alabama. Let's pause right here and talk about these two prospects, which we have discussed before on the show, but I know not everyone watches every single draft video. So let's do a quick little refresher. Starting with Jalon Walker, 6.5 sacks last year. Keep in mind his teammate Michael Williams had 5.5, 6.5 himself, and Walker was a more off-ball linebacker than true edge rusher. I mean, they used him at the edge at times because he's one of the best pure all-around football players and athletes in this draft. And if Atlanta sees him available at 15, they may feel he's too good of a pure football player to pass on. Even if he projects, as I think he will be, an inside linebacker, you can get creative with him. I think he's Caden Ellis on steroids. So you could have a lot of fun with blitz packages, but if you're looking for a true edge rusher, I don't believe he's big enough to fill that role. Meanwhile, Jahad Campbell, he is your traditional middle linebacker. And if that's something Atlanta wants to check the box of, that's the guy to go to. I don't believe that's going to be the case for them. They just signed Divine Diablo. They've got Caden Ellis. They've got Troy Anderson. Campbell and Walker, I think, are going to be good players at the next level. But I don't think the Falcons are looking for off-ball linebackers. So unless Walker, I think, who is much higher in my book than Campbell, like not just one spot ahead, but a handful of spots ahead, is available at 15, and Atlanta's like, if we're going to do best player available, that's the best guy. That's the only path I see for him coming to Atlanta. Personally, I don't think Walker gets past the Panthers at 8. They need a new middle, like center leader of the defense in the middle. And that seems like a good home for him. Campbell, I think, is probably going to go after 15, more in the 20s, just because the middle linebacker's position going down the drain in value. On to number 10. It's my favorite prospect for Atlanta, and frequent viewers know this. Michigan cornerback Will Johnson. We've talked at length about Johnson and how, while Atlanta needs to get an edge rusher, if there is an exception to that, it's the Will Johnson monster corner. 2023 helped Michigan win the national championship game with 4 interceptions, 8 pass breakups, 3 pick sixes in his last 2 years. He did miss a substantial amount of time in 2024 with a turf toe injury. There are concerns about his long speed. He did not run the 40 at the combine, and he's not running it at his pro day reportedly. So those things have dinged him a little bit. And while you probably saw him going earlier in mock drafts back in January, like as early as 5 sometimes to the Jags, I've seen him fall all the way to the Bengals at 18. So he's got a wide range of where he could end up. But I think he's going to be an incredible corner. I think pairing him, Terrell, and Bates for the foreseeable future would form one of the best secondaries. Forget the NFC South, forget the NFC, in the NFL, period. I would love a Will Johnson pick for Atlanta. So let me know, who would you take? Would it be Will Johnson at 15? Give me a yes or give me a no. If it's a no, tell me the other name you'd like. I completely understand why you might say no because you want to get a pass rusher. And I'm right there with you. But I just think he's going to be someone that we look back at as one of the best corners in football. And if I say I love best player available, and that's the common and popular trend for people to say, if he's available, I think he'll be the best player. And you got to stick to your word if you want to go best player available. Moving on to 11 to 15, you got Armin Membo. They're not going to go guard or tackle. Colston Loveland, unlikely they go tight end. Same goes for Will Campbell, no running back. But Mike Green, our Marshall Thundering Herd, an FBS leading 17 sacks a year ago, friend. He could very, very well be the pick for Atlanta. This would not be a surprise to me if on April we hear with the 15th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Mike Green, defensive end, Marshall. I don't think they say edge at the draft. So he led the FBS in sacks last year. There is a little bit of skeletons in his closet. Started off in Virginia, played in 2021, didn't play in 2022. Then he transfers to Marshall, and he only starts 1 year, 2024. So there's not a lot of tape out on him. There's just really one season to go off of. And that could give some GMs the heebie-jeebies of, we're going to take a one-hit wonder season in a non-Power 5 conference. I could see some teams looking at that. And I don't want to, say he's guilty of anything, but being accused of not once but twice sexual misconduct, sexual assault, something of that nature in high school and in college. That could be a non-starter for some teams. But I'm always in the camp of innocent until proven guilty, and I don't want to go out there and say, oh, there's allegations. Yeah, we're moving for your draft board. No, this is an NFL team that has a team of scouts and people who have to do their job and figure out, is there any truth behind this? And if so, are you going to take someone onto your team that finds themselves in trouble in 1 to 2 years and you wasted the 15th overall pick on something that could have been foreseen based on doing your homework from high school and college? Before we look at the other players on Kiper's big board, quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players. We've got all the games going on this weekend. Basketball season is heating up, and with Prize Picks, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. They offer Venmo and MasterCard for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Moving on to number 16 to 20, a couple of Bulldogs here. Michael Williams, Shamir Stewart, Jackson Dart jumps all the way up to 18 to not being ranked. Then a wide receiver, Tet McMillan, and Georgia safety Malachi Starks. Let's go in order of likelihood. Starting with Michael Williams, who was one of the best pure athletes on that Georgia defense last year. He's a prototypical dream size edge rusher. 6'5", 265. He can play outside linebacker. You could probably put him at defensive end. So he's got some versatility based on what kind of scheme he's going to be walking into. 4-3 or a 3-4 defense. His physical traits is what's impressed people the most. He is dominant when it comes to his speed to power. Now, he did miss some time. Sorry, he did not miss time, but he did miss, I would say, valuable reps because of an ankle injury. And that's what led to him having 5 sacks. He played 12 games, so you look at that and you go, ooh, 5 sacks in 12 games, and that's the edge rusher at 15? I don't think so. And I'm right there with you most of the time, but I do feel like the ankle injury he suffered early in the year is a fair reason to look at and go, hey, that's what held him back from reaching his full potential, and we can unlock that with him in the NFL once that ankle is healthy, and we're going to get way more than 5 sacks out of him. So Williams is one of my very, very rare exceptions to I need production, because you still did get production. You got 5 sacks out of him. That's not nothing, right? Sure, I'd like to have a little bit more, but he definitely had some big moments in the biggest games, like in the SEC championship game against Texas. So I would be very happy with a Williams pick at number 15. Shedeur Stewart is up next, the A&M defensive end. Listen, I just gave a whole TED talk about how much I need production, and I got to stick to my word here. 3 straight years of 1.5 sacks. For me, that's a non-starter. Some other team can take a chance on him. He's an incredible athlete. He tested through the roof at the combine. Not me at 15. I pass. I don't believe that 3 straight years of college football and you never get more than 1.5 sacks, you're going to wake up one day in the NFL and figure out how to do it. I don't need production for wide receivers, for running backs, for quarterbacks. I need it for defensive ends. Because in college, you're going one-on-one 90% of the time. If you can't beat your guy one-on-one in college, why is it going to get any better in the NFL? Pressures are great. I like pressures. But 1.5 sacks, that's just too low of a number for me for the 15th overall pick. Let's switch gears and go to the DBs now. We got Nick Emanwari. We can actually bundle the 2 safeties that are back-to-back here, where we have Emanwari and then Malachi Starks from Georgia. So let's talk about these 2 guys because I could see Atlanta deciding to wait for an edge rusher in round 2 and get Starks or Emanwari in round number 1 and kind of play the board a little bit, knowing very deep at edge, not so deep at safety. The edge we get in round 2 is going to be not too far behind the edge we get in round 1, but the same cannot be said for a safety. So Starks is more of your traditional safety in my eyes. He's like 5'11", 200 pounds. You can see the ball skills. Look at all the interceptions in his career. Only 1 this past year, but look at 2023. 10 pass breakups, 3 picks, 6 altogether. That's not a small number. Emanwari was a little bit of a late-ish bloomer. He's also more of like a linebacker at safety. He's 6'2". He's 220 pounds. Both guys are good against the run, but they're just not quite the same style of play. But this past year, the Gamecock, 4 interceptions and 2 pick sixes, 6 pass breakups. I guess late bloomer is not doing him justice. 10 pass breakups and 2 picks the season prior to that. But these safeties are going to be, I think, really good at the next level. I don't look at either of them as prospects that are going to transcend the position. I think they're going to be valuable starters for a few teams. Probably play 6-7 years in the team that drafts them, get a follow-up contract for another team for 3 years, and then hop around for another few years and play 12 seasons in the NFL and be a really good starter. So I wouldn't hate. They're good players. And so if you're picking a good player, it's hard to be upset. But safety is not the thing that's the squeaky wheel for Atlanta's defense right now. They signed Jordan Fuller in free agency just to a 1-year contract. So him coming over, I don't think prohibits a safety pick because he's not the future at that position. But I would think you just got to address pass rusher unless your name is Will Johnson. And then 22 to 25, you're not going to go offensive line. Jahdae Barron, I think, will be more of a round 2 target for Atlanta, but I love the versatility he offers. Emeka Egbuka, Matthew Golden, no way they're taking a wide receiver at 15. You've got London, Mooney, and Ray McLeod, but my favorite receiver, in case you're wondering, is Matthew Golden in this draft class. So let me know who you would like to see Atlanta pick. Scroll on down, drop a name for me in the comment section. My rankings go Will Johnson, Michael Williams, and James Pierce wasn't even in this top 25, so he fell off despite having a really good combine. That's interesting. James Pierce, but that's probably my Tennessee bias showing right now. But for me, it's Will Johnson and Michael Williams high up there. And then like Mike Green, James Pierce, they're battling for 3 and 4. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and like the video on your way out the door, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.